All right, so class is finished. I only had one today. I did my cardio beforehand and I went straight from the gym to class. I brought a different shirt, obviously. I wouldn't go in there drenched in sweat, but I uh I slept in a little bit. I was talking all that smack about how I had a badass sleep schedule, going to bed at 10 and then I went to bed at like 1 o'clock last night like a fool. So this is not the first meal this exact moment. It'll be in a little while because I got a fucking sous vide. Dude, this shit comes out insanely tender. So I'm kind of gonna prep some stuff for later. Uh, ugh. So this is just a top round, reasonably lean cut. And dude, even just cooking it in the pan, like it's not bad, but it gets a little bit tough. But the sous vide totally counteracts that. So this is like, sure, it's a little bit of extra work. I got to bag this stuff up in Ziplocs and whatever, but I think it is well worth it. So this is about 60 grams of protein worth of that top round. Probably I'd say 10 of fat. And then I was just kind of curious, like this isn't me going primal or anything like that, but I saw these bison steaks and I just kind of wanted to try it out. It seemed interesting. The macros look pretty good too, a lean cut. For these two, it's going to be about 70 grams of protein and 8 grams of fat. I would ground beef is fine, but in terms of the steaks, I loved uh, ribeyes. I was really getting into the ribeyes at the end of the bulk, but each one, I need a fucking knife. I'm being an idiot. Each one has like 30 or 40 grams of fat. It's just, it's not conducive to a diet at all. At freaking all. So, in terms of my choices of protein, when I'm bulking, I don't mind some shakes. For one thing, honestly, I think like a the protein from like a protein shake, as long as it's like a whey, isolate or something like that, like actual dairy protein. I mean, the quality's there. It's got all the essential amino acids, whatever. You can build muscle on that. I've gone days where honestly most of the whole day was like just protein shakes. I'm not saying that's the best method, but it definitely won't hurt you in terms of your progress. But I don't want to be drinking shakes when I'm dieting because that's 50 grams of protein, which I could have in like a steak or some ground beef or some eggs and stuff like that, which would actually make me full. So when I'm dieting, I don't want to eat anything that's just, or I don't want to drink my calories, right? When I, when people talk about empty calories, it kind of annoys me because they'll say, because basically, when I think of the word or the term empty calories, right? What I'm thinking is just foods that aren't particularly filling, right? So for me to drink a protein shake or for me to like drink trying to think what else I would drink, like a normal Gatorade, like something like that, it would have calories. It would hit me, add another extra 50 grams of carbs to my day, which, I mean, that stuff adds up. But it wouldn't make me full at all. That's what I would consider empty calories. So, and then, little side note, don't be afraid to over season. Do not even think about being afraid to over season. So, yeah, getting back to the protein shake, I don't want to, I'm not going to be drinking protein shakes on the cut. I'm going to be eating foods that actually make me feel full. You know what I'm saying? So, on a more immediate related note, I'm going to put the steak in its own Ziploc for later. And then I'll put these two pieces of bison in the other one because you got to leave this shit in there for like at least an hour. I'm going to put it at 127. If you know anything about sous vide, you'll know what I mean by that. And then all I'll have to do is throw it in the pan for like a second. Well, not a second, more like a minute on either. I guess this hand's already dirty. a minute on either side, just for a little bit of an extra sear. And then, I mean, this is going to be a treat. This is going to be a freaking treat, no doubt about it. So we can cut to the bison in like an hour. I'm gonna go do some homework first, and then this will be breakfast because I haven't had anything yet. It's it's 10:30 now, so the cardio today was fasted. It's not like I think fasted cardio is like particularly special in some way, but in the scheme of my day, I want to time most of my calories towards at least past noon. Because if I get to noon and I've already had 2,000 calories, then I am going to be going to bed hungry. And going to bed hungry, I would say, I'd say in a dieting context, being hungry before, like, let's just say if you're hungry at 8 o'clock, you're setting yourself up for failure. Let's just say that in terms of like going down to the kitchen and grabbing some sweets or something and then totally overshooting your calorie limit. So, okay. CVS trip was successful. Skittles have been consumed. So 45 minutes pre-lift. Honestly, I probably would. That's enough time. It's not like you're gonna eat some sweets or whatever, and you're just instantly gonna get a massive jump in energy. But I am inclined to believe that I will certainly have a little bit more. I don't want to say energy twice, but whatever. Energy in the lift after having those relatively fast digesting carbs. It's still like not sucralose. I don't remember the name of like table sugar, but there's varieties of complexities of carbs. Obviously, getting real complex, we're talking wheat breads, we're talking yams, things along those natures. And then it gradually gets more and more simple, like from fruits, vegetables, stuff like that. And then real simple, actually, well, the simplest, dextrose on that really far end. So maybe that would have been good pre-workout. But honestly, I think kind of a slower releasing, because you got to think about this. What'll happen is, let's say you eat 50 grams of wheat bread, or, well, 50 grams of carbs worth of wheat bread. Your blood sugar will have a slight bump. Maybe not a slight bump, but it'll just have like kind of a round bump. It'll gradually increase, and then gradually decrease. That's why people say to, eat a big bowl of oatmeal for breakfast, because it's a filling food. You're going to kind of be full for a while. That's why when I diet down, I try to eat more complex carbs rather than just sweets. And then on the crazier end, eating like sugars and real simple carbs, it's more of a quick spike like that. So in a dieting context, I don't want to have big spikes in my blood sugar all day, because what'll happen is when it crashes, that'll make you extra hungry. So if you're trying to stay under a certain limit, it's going to be in your best interest not to, eat a ton of sweets all at once, because then you're going to kind of have a rebound effect where you'll be even hungrier after eating them. Whereas if you had something a little slower digesting, full of, and more filling, then you'd probably be less hungry for longer, if you catch my drift. So enough discussing that. It's actually like a 45-minute drive. So I haven't even drank the pre yet. I did 2 scoops of the watermelon candy bloodshot, and then the bubblegum grape hostility. On their own, both are good, and combined, it's still good. It's like, because they're both sweet, obviously. It's just kind of an interesting flavor combination. Though, I mean, I really couldn't care. Well, obviously I do care. I like when it tastes good, but really I want that effect that it's going to give me. If all pre-workout in the whole world just had a weird, like, just bitter, weird, like black coffee, like if it was like that, I mean, screw it, man, I'd still do it. I want to get that crazy pump. So I'll probably drink that about maybe 20 minutes out I'll just slam it. Or maybe I'll start sipping on it 30 minutes out, I'm not sure. But I want it to have time to kind of kick in. If you just slam it right before you start your first couple of sets, you're not getting any benefits from it for those sets. You won't even be really feeling the caffeine for another 30 minutes. Or at least it'll, like the blood sugar, it'll be a slow rise up to the peak, peak levels. But let's stop talking about the semi-related topics. Let's just talk directly about what's about to go down. So hamstrings, I don't really know what I'm going to do there because I've never gone to this gym for legs before. I've only gone for chest. I've only ever gone here for chest and back. I've never done anything else. Arms wouldn't really be any different than anywhere else. There's no mad specialty machines for arms, apart from a couple tricep machines, which I'm always on the lookout for. But legs, I definitely get a little bit interested, because they do have what look like some pretty cool machines, so I'm pretty excited to try that kind of stuff out. You always want to try new things, see how it feels. Even if let's say I jump onto this leg extension that I've never tried before, do a couple sets and say, or do a couple like feeler reps and say, oh, I don't like that at all. Hey, it's a learning experience. On the other end, if I love it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is sick. This is badass. Same thing, But hamstrings, I think I already kind of premised this before, or prefaced it. Tons of curls, laying, seated, maybe standing single leg if they have one of those machines. That could be pretty good. But I'm only doing 8 sets for hamstrings and then 8 for quads. So there's no need for, well, honestly, there's pretty much no real need for me to do any more than 4 movements for a muscle group with that many sets. Just because, I could do 2 sets of laying curls, 2 of seated, 2 of standing, maybe 2 RDLs of some kind. That's 8 sets, then I'm done. Now those sets aren't like warm-up sets for the first 2 and then working sets for the first, or for the middle 4, and then like back off sets for the last 2. My whole premise with these lifts, for the most part, is initial warm-up phase. Maybe sit on the machine I'm going to use for my first set, do a couple reps with half the stack or a low weight, get warm, get warm, get warm. Don't actually do any damage, don't fatigue myself. And then that first set should be my heaviest and strongest. Well, I don't even want to say that, because sometimes I do a lightweight, light-ish, and I do a real squeezing set like I did yesterday for arms as the first movement. So I guess really what I want to say is, since I'm freshest for that first set, that's when I want to potentially go as heavy as possible, but definitely make sure I go as hard as possible. I guess that's kind of a moot point. You should do that for every set. But after 8 actual sets, once you're warmed up, no warm-up sets. Well, what I'm really trying to say is warm-up sets don't count. You're not doing any work. You're just getting warmed up for your actual sets, right? It's like, you don't get any points for doing something good in practice, right? You get points for that performance. That might, I don't think that's the right analogy, but you get what I'm saying. The warm-up purely serves its purpose to warm you up, to expose you to weight, to, make sure you're going to be able to handle your working set without hurting yourself. I can't emphasize that part enough. Like, don't just jump straight into your max, right? Warm up to it, but do it as quickly as possible, because there's no need to waste your time unnecessarily, right? So let's fast forward. Fast forward about probably, it's 3 o'clock now. I'd say probably maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours from now, I'll be hitting the pump check, because I got to get there, probably talk for a little bit, put all my stuff down, do my warm-ups for hamstrings at least, and then hams will be done. A little bit of warm-up for quads, and then do quads, and then we can check the pump. So I'm pretty excited to get in there. They've got this big pendulum squat, which I'm very interested in. I've used one before pretty frequently at one of the gyms that I go to a lot, but this one looks a lot more, let's just say, robust. I guess there's no point teasing it. We'll just see it in the future. So let's, I guess I'll see you in there. So after a relatively extensive calf and hamstring warm up, honestly, really all I did was I went back and forth between a seated calf machine and then this standing single leg curl. I mean, honestly, pretty light too. I don't think there's just a classic seated one in here, which I would probably prefer, but whatever. So let's just do 2 sets here. And then, like I was kind of hinting at earlier, I'm not going to go for insane weight. This will be more slow, squeeze, burning kind of set. So those last few reps with the left leg looks way harder than the ones on the right. My left one's a little weaker, so I'll start with that one and then match the reps on the strong side. Let's do one more, and then I might just jump to an RDL. I'll go a little heavier for this one. You know, not that you have you know what I'm saying. I'll give you a little happy is you can search special programs that you can invest in so search acne unleaded and okay, that's perfect. Oh. Yeah, one more. Okay. There's a plate loaded hamstring curl behind me. I'm kind of curious about it. I think let's do at least one there. But if it feels bad, like if I'm not really getting a good squeeze, I'll just come back to this. I would be perfectly happy just doing 8 sets of these as the whole hamstring workout. It's a hammer strength machine. You know, I like hammer strength, but it's it doesn't have any pulleys or anything. So that means that the weight, if you do a really fast rep, the weight's gonna get a ton of momentum. So I kind of prefer the cable-based hamstring curls, like with a weight stack, because I can do fast reps, but the fact that it's like a machine with a cable, you can't build up so much momentum. You know what I'm saying? It's like doing a dumbbell curl standing. You can wrench it up from the bottom and kind of ride the momentum to the top. But with something like a cable curl, even if you do really quick reps, the tension is much more constant because you can't build up momentum because the weight on the stack isn't moving up and down that fast. If you understand what I'm saying. So basically what that's telling me is I'm gonna do these reps slow and controlled. Like I've said this before, some machines kind of, in my mind, you kind of have to do reps in a certain way to get the most out of it. Or I guess rather, there's some ways that I wouldn't want to do reps, if you understand my methodology. But let's hit one here, and if I like it, I'll stay. I think there's a laying curl behind me kind of far. I know I like that, so maybe I'll go over there. Move the seat forward a little. Okay. Oh. Okay, I got a good burn. That was a good set.
but I don't want to do this again. Let's go to the lane curl. I've never used one that's quite like this, but all the basic components are still here. I'm not going to try to hit the whole stack. That's typically, you're kind of asking for trouble if you jump straight onto a machine you've never used before and just like hit the max weight. But I think mid-stack, slow controlled squeezing reps will feel pretty good. Okay, fuck, a little heavier. There we go. Okay, you know what? What the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, 2 more of these and then this hamstring portion of the workout is over. Whew. I guess that whole speech before that set was bullshit. And with that, hamstrings is complete. Oh, whoa. Okay, I guess I can't set like that. But I'm gonna warm up on leg extensions, but I'm not sure I'm gonna start on leg extensions. I guess you'll see what the first working set is gonna be. All right, so this is that single leg extension I was talking about. And I tell you what, it's like, it's not groundbreaking, but I do like it. It's kind of cool. A little way to change it up. So instead of trying to start off with like a huge heavy set of pressing on like the pendulum squat or something, honestly, I think that might hurt me a little bit. Because for me to push really hard, I'm trying to take some pressure off my adductors, which when I press, they kind of come into play a little bit. So it's probably gonna be better for me to start on quads and then do the pressing a little bit lighter. But then again, that kind of goes against my typical training style where I say do your heaviest stuff first. So I think really what matters is just making sure all your sets are hard. You finish with a pump. Hard to go wrong. Okay. Oh. Let's do either pendulums or hacks. Oh, the hack squat's open. Let's go do that. Perfect. Perfect timing. I was trying to figure out how to put a band on the back of this thing, but the only band that I could find was like a big, thick green one. I'd have to put 5 plates on, so that's stupid. So I got 2 plates on one side, 3 on the other side. Gonna do it the same way as last time, kind of sissy squat style. And I think I may do a mechanical drop set. So I think I'm gonna do sissy squat style, close to failure, if not actual failure. And then regular squat style for some extra forced reps, or my glutes will probably come into play a little. That's what I think I'll do. But if I finish the sissy squat part first, and I think to myself, okay, that's enough, then I'll just rack and be done. That's enough. That's kind of nice because even if I fail, I can just push myself back up. Let's do one more and throw another plate on. That was a little too light. Oh. This is the leg. Can I get a photo? Yeah, of course. Go. All right. Let's just do 3 more sets of leg extensions to be done. Simple lift today. Instead of just doing single leg, you know, the whole left leg, the whole right leg, I'm gonna do 5 reps on the right, 5 on the left, go back and forth a few times, and then jump onto some body weight sissy squats. All right. Let's find some good lighting somewhere. We're done. This world has a lot of windows, which is cool, but in terms of bodybuilding posing, you want the ambient light to be like 0. Because there's some spotlights above me. You want all your light sources to be from just one point. Because then the shadows that your little cuts and whatever make are way more pronounced. We can still check the pump. I'm kind of not excited to put these pants back on because they're fucking sweaty. And now they're gonna be cold. It's like going to the bathroom at the swimming pool. You gotta take the suit off. You know what I'm saying. Let's quit making these weird analogies and just see what's going on quad-wise. All right. It's not nothing. Ooh. Yeah, that is definitely not nothing. Oh. Oh, dude. Eesh. The quad skin is just going to keep getting thinner and thinner until, well, ideally I'll be able to see so many veins it'll fucking scare me. That's it, man. Solid leg day, under the belt yet again. It's an unfortunate state of affairs that some of you guys can't relate to that. Not my problem. Let's get in the car. All right. We are freaking done. I tell you what. That was a solid leg day. I ended up just sitting on that adductor machine. They weren't really like, let's just say, quote unquote, hypertrophy sets. You know, I didn't hype myself up and do, you know, failure AMRAP, whatever, this, that, and the other. It was really just kind of for some adductor activation, because I definitely need my adductors to kind of toughen up. Because when I do heavy pressing with legs, they kind of flare up. And it's just because I'm lazy and I haven't been doing my adductors. They are an incredible stabilizer. I tell you what. So, squats will come back. Do not even think that squats are not going to come back. But for now on the cut, usually I do take a break from squats anyway, just because they're a really freaking hard movement. And I don't mean that as in like, oh, squats are hard, I don't want to do them. It's like, it's the same logic why I don't do deadlifts, just because I'm taxing my whole system pretty freaking hard. You know, I gotta sit here and plug in my directions, but like doing deadlifts, sure, you're gonna get some lat activation, you're gonna get some lower back activation, trap activation, but you're also spending a ton of energy activating your glutes, your hamstrings, and I mean, honestly, I don't really even want a big lower back. I want my lats to be fucking huge. I was just talking to somebody about this in terms of your, like that Christmas tree look that people talk about. Really, it's not from having a massive lower back. It's from having really developed lower lats, right? Like if this is your lower back, up here is your lats, right? Having them really developed, that's what gives you that Christmas tree look. That's how I see it, at least. So, here we go, 38 minutes. 38 minutes until my next meal. That's how I see that. I am freaking starving. So I didn't end up cooking that extra steak. I just like it's well, I guess I did cook it. Like it was in the sous vide, right? So it's cooked through, but I didn't want to like throw it on the pan yet because I wasn't going to eat it. So I just threw it straight into the fridge. So I think I'll get home, throw some avocado oil onto the skillet, sear it up, and that'll be a solid 80 grams of protein. Wait, actually no, it's a little more than half a pound. And for the most part, that's going to end up meaning that, well, typically a half pound of red meat. It's about 50 grams of protein-ish. Obviously, I'm going to calculate it, but, you know, just by guessing, it's going to be around 70 grams of protein and probably 15 grams of fat. Not that it's a really fatty cut, because it's a top round, but, you know, when I cook it in the avocado oil, a lot of that oil kind of gets sucked into it. You know what I'm saying? So, little tip if you're going to be making steaks like that with high heat, you got to use an oil with a high smoke point. For any of you with a culinary interest. You know, if you're just doing ground beef and you're cooking it well done, then don't even sweat it. You know. So solid leg day, but that whole lift was mainly slow, controlled squeezing movements. I guess at the end of quads, it was a little bit more, I don't want to say barbaric, but a little more on kind of the rough side. Like I was just pumping out reps, burning out. But for the most part, that was kind of a slow, controlled day, which in a dieting phase, perfect. But maybe it's just like the kind of ego lifter inside my brain. You know, I miss doing those heavy sets of squats where, like it only happened once, but like a squat set that gives you a nosebleed, that kind of thing. That's what I really kind of like, that style of training. But no matter what kind of sets you do, I mean, I say this a bazillion times, just go hard on them. So I'll definitely be feeling quads tomorrow. Hamstrings, I'm not so sure. Hamstrings, I'm not so sure if I'm going to be sore. It's not like soreness is really like a one-to-one indicator that you had an awesome lift. I get oh my goodness. I remember, I think it was either last summer or 2 summers ago. For cardio, I tried to go on a jog, and my quads were like thrashed. I didn't even jog a mile. It was like, I don't even remember. I don't remember how long it was. It was not legit. Not even legit at all. But whatever, I tried to run for a period of time, like more than a minute. It was a little while. But really it just kind of turned into a long walk after like, I don't know, I want to say 5 minutes.
But something about that, like the impact, the fact that I never do that, my quads were insanely sore the next day. But they didn't grow. You can get sore, but have done something that won't stimulate growth at all. So in that sense, that's well, I don't even know what I was about to say. That's just kind of soreness doesn't mean you had a good lift, and not being sore doesn't mean you had a bad lift. It's just kind of whatever. Just kind of whatever. Sometimes you're extra sore, sometimes you're not. You can probably, give yourself a little bit more chances of not being extra sore, getting some good rest, eating your protein, taking all your vitamins, maintaining a solid level of hydration. Honestly, that's just quality of life things. You don't get fucking headaches. You know, I never see anyone who has, well, let's just say I've never seen anyone who like reasonably consistently complains that they have headaches. I've never seen them carry a gallon jug around with electrolytes in it. So I'm pretty certain there's a strong correlation there. But if you don't believe me, whatever, do your workout with a exertion headache. Not going to bother me. I know I'm going to stay hydrated. So enough of that little roast. Plan for tomorrow is chest. I don't know where I want to go. I might come back here, or I might just go to my school's rec center, or maybe I'll go to that other gym in between here and there. Because this Worlds was super cool. They've got a ton of equipment, but it's also a little bit far for me. But I do like changing it up. I kind of have a lot of factors at play here, a lot of moving parts. But it definitely will help your schedule. Well, maybe not your schedule. Let's just say your quality of life in a sense by having a couple different gyms at your disposal. Because let's say, you go to one gym and you're like, oh, this gym's cool, but they don't have blank. Oh, I like this gym a lot, but it's kind of far. Stuff like that. Oh, I like this gym a ton, but the hours are kind of rough. You know, but then again, then you're paying for multiple memberships, which is a little rough. So you gotta balance that kind of stuff out. But in terms of macros, let's see what we're working with. I was good today. It's 6 o'clock and I'm only at 1,400 calories, so I've got 1,100 left for tonight. Perfect. 100 grams of protein left. Maybe I'll only eat half of the steak. Because if I eat the whole thing, that's most of my protein. And protein is reasonably filling. It'll kind of give you a feeling of being full, but not always. Like I was saying before, if you drink a protein shake, you're not really going to feel that full. So if you're cutting down and you're getting a lot of protein from shakes, I think you're going about it the wrong way, man. You should be eating some turkey, some meats, some oh, I got some cod. Oh, I hope it's not bad. I got it a couple days ago. I wanted to try putting the fish into that sous vide. I'm fucking sous vide and everything, man. I'm an addict. That's a classic YouTube channel I always check out. I think it's called Guga Foods. I don't know. They make a ton of sous vide videos, so that's where I learned it from. Yeah. No, I think that's all I got, man. I'm drenched. Oh, no wonder I feel so sweaty. I don't have the AC on. Ugh. Yeah, so home, food, potentially a nap. And I get to do this whole thing over again tomorrow. Perfect. So cardio in the morning. I'll post my little Instagram story about it to put it right in your face so you know I'm doing it. So I will see you tomorrow for a solid chest pump.